Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is ship updates. Now, this show is going to be shorter. There wasn't any real substantial ship updates. Apparently, nothing had moved forward since last week. Nothing had really changed, but there was some little tidbits that eked out. So unfortunately, yeah, this is going to be one of those short episodes. I know people like longer shows, but you know, I can bullshit you or I can tell you the truth. So today it's going to be the truth, unfortunately. Now, the Redeemer. One of the first ships that came up today was the Redeemer. They were asking if there had been any forward motion on that ship. Now, of course, if you've seen the Redeemer, you've seen it in hangar. It looks pretty good, but obviously it is not up to snuff with the new standards. So, the first thing that's going to happen to the Redeemer when it goes into production is that the Redeemer is going to need an interior rework, the extent of which is unknown, but just to bring it up to the quality level of the new ships. So who knows now, given the amount of time that's been spent on the internal rework of the Cutlass, who knows how long that will take. But the Redeemer, something to watch, especially if you've got a Vanguard, which is priced exactly the same. Obviously, the Redeemer has a much heavier armament right now, so it might be wise to just, because they're free, pick up a couple of Vanguard to Redeemer tokens and Redeemer to Vanguard tokens, just to kind of keep a few in your pocket. Doesn't cost you anything. And you never know, you might want to switch, you'd be able to switch back and forth a few times once those two ships are out, just in case one ends up being a disappointment, but the other one ends up being strong. Just a thought. Next up, the Reliant. There was some news about the Reliant. Now, someone was asking in chat if the Reliant, when it came out and it was flight ready and in the hangar and yada yada yada, if all the variants were going to be ready along with or was it just going to be the base version? Of course, it's just the base version. We already knew that, so if there was anybody out there who was kind of harboring hope that you were going to get all of them, that ain't happening. But we did find out some other stuff about the Reliant. When they were talking about the Reliant, they said, we got people working on it to get it flight and hangar ready. So obviously, hangar ready comes before flight, but the fact that it's just the way they said it, both like boom right at the same time, kind of made me wonder if maybe they wouldn't deliver both at the same time. Possible. It's possible, but I once again wouldn't lay down money on it, but it was just the way they said it. And the Reliant will be will be the focus of a 7-part series, ship shape series, discussing the ship. Now, of course, we haven't seen ship shape since Lisa Ohanian left. Well, we have, but they've been kind of like these kind of, it's just not the same flavor and not the same thing. So that is, of course, welcome news. Any more ship updates or just stories to do with the ships? It's kind of one of those things. You don't always need a release date. You don't always need a when and where, but just sometimes just to hear the developers talk about the ships and talk about their ideas surrounding the ships makes up for not having ship updates, because at least it gives you an idea of the headspace that they're in, and so it helps you imagine the ship, if you know what I mean. And that's one of the things that whenever you have this back and forth between CIG and backers, and backers say, oh, what about this ship, what about that ship, and there's no news yet, or oh, there's no updates, it's still in limbo. Sometimes just to hear them talk about the ship, just to say, well, actually, I was thinking about that ship the other day, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if this or that? And I thought maybe I should talk to Chris about that, or so, just something along those lines. It's always nice to hear. You don't always need a release date. Sometimes, just tell us what your feelings are about the ship and what your hopes are for the ship. It's nice to hear about them. So that is it for the Reliant. Next up was the Caterpillar. Now, the Caterpillar, really, that ball has not moved down the field. It is still getting bit of an interior rework from Calyx Renault and Gurmukh Basin. Hopefully soon we will see the fruits of that labor, but nothing, nothing firm as of today. Nothing has really moved. Apparently, though, the Bengal carrier is getting a whole bunch of work in the UK now. Of course, figuring probably playing a very large part in Squadron 42, of course. But they've been talking about it, so who knows? I mean, maybe even as like a piece of backdrop fixture in Crusader. Not something that we may be able to land on, but something that you just might see, patrolling by a station or something. Hopefully, it will be there. Now, next up to that is there is a bit of a story in regards to the Idris. Now, none of this is 100% confirmed, but it goes along with what I was saying last week, and I believe the week before, and that has to do with the Idris. Now, apparently Matt Sherman went into chat and said that pretty much there was going to be no Idris until Squadron 42 was out, because they don't want to, they don't want to spoil it, and they don't want to ruin the ooh and ah factor of Squadron 42. So if you have an Idris, chances are you're getting access to that ship or getting to play around with that ship will go hand in hand with the release of Squadron 42, or at least afterwards. So you don't have a date, but at least you know that as soon as Squadron 42 is out, the countdown is on. Now, next up, we have the Starfarer. The words Starfarer and done were uttered in the same sentence today on Reverse the Verse. So chances are, it looks like it is going to be in 2.3. Now, that is not an official statement, but it looks pretty strong. And also, there was mention of some work being done on the repair mechanics of the game, and then the name Crucible was being thrown around. So Crucible might be arriving, probably, at least getting its work started at some point this year. So Crucible owners might be getting their ships sooner than Reclaimer owners or Orion owners. Of course, the Xeon Scout, they're working on it to get it flight ready. The people who were working on Xeon Scout before that are now working on the Herald, which hopefully we will see in hangar soon, unless something comes up. Now, let's see. There have been some videos done, actually, going back to the Idris. There have been some videos done about the interiors of the Idris. Just one second, I gotta sneeze. There, sorry. There have been some videos done of the interior of the Idris, and so basically the community team is trying to get us access to some of those videos. Nothing, I guess, that would be too spoilerific, but hopefully there will be some stuff on the Idris soon. Of course, you're seeing the glaive here. This is not my glaive. It's a free fly weekend. Any and every ship that is flyable, you have access to, so you can go ahead and play with it. Other little odds and ends of news this week. The CIG is aware of what's going on with SciTech, and so what they're doing is right now they're waiting until production prototypes show up on their doorstep before they start doing the pre-order. So I guess they're being just a little bit careful with SciTech. Now, of course, SciTech is still in business. The doors are still open. They're still running. But obviously, CIG being careful, which is a good thing because, I mean, it's your money. And if you guys go out and pre-buy a whole bunch of HOTASes and then these guys go, tits up next week, and you're all SOL, how does that look for? How does that play into the future of Star Citizen when they might end up having to refund or partially refund a whole bunch of backers for $250 HOTASes? So, good that they're being careful. Now, one or two more things? Yeah, two more things before we close this episode off. Dog tags. Dog tags are going in the store. Basically, by the time you see this video, they should be in store. And one more thing, Ben Lesnick said that there would likely be a ship sale next week, but he hasn't said what it is. Now, I have to guess that it's not a concept sale, because a concept sale would be announced a week prior to release, and concept sales seemingly always oddly end up on one of my paydays. And so since next Friday is not a payday, it can't be a concept sale. It just can't. The stars aren't aligning for it. But possibly another ship will be coming up for sale that we haven't seen in a while, so who knows? Who knows what might become available? So things to look out for, things to pay attention to. Obviously, I will try to get more info, and I will put a link to the Matt Sherman comment in the description so you guys can go and check that out. Now, of course, this is somebody quoting Matt Sherman from the chat. None of this is 100%, but it seems like a very reasonable take, very reasonable position for CIG to take given their history. And obviously they want to keep the Idris secret for all the ooh and ah factor when Squadron 42 comes out. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing it for Squadron 42. Well, at least at some point this year, really the window of possibility of seeing the ship opens up, and we know that they're out there flying it, so we know it's in some kind of shape right now. So good news, bad news, glass is half full, glass is half empty, glass is broken on the floor. No matter how you view it, hopefully soon you guys will see your ship, but that will probably coincide with all of us seeing Squadron 42. Anyways, that's all I got for you this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching.
Quantum travel initiated.